Although Central Park looks a lot different than it did when it opened in 1857, there are still remnants of an old Gotham that are virtually invisible to the uninitiated eye. The Ramble Cave, also colloquially known as Suicide Cave or Indian Cave, is one of these hidden gems. Its history is sensational, filled with mystery and turn-of-the-century intrigue, and for the most part, it's still accessible today. So let's get cooking. For those who don't know, the Ramble is a section of Central Park that runs between 73rd and 78th Streets. It was originally designed as sort of a wild garden, a completely natural respite from the hustle and bustle of the city, and is home to many plants and woodland creatures alike. While it was part of the original Greensward plan of Vox and Olmsted, the creators of Central Park, and stellar Beard Bros, the Ramble Cave was not in the original design. In order to create this artificial oasis in the middle of New York City, a lot of grunt work was required. During the original excavation of the area that would become the Ramble, workers found a narrow cavity just below what we now know as the 79th Street Traverse. This find wasn't exactly what Vox and Olmsted wanted, so they landscaped the area to make it look more like a natural cave and less like a giant hole in the ground. When the park opened, the Ramble Cave became somewhat of an attraction, especially as a hideout for young kids. But as time went on, the cave rambled its way into a far more insidious reputation. For starters, it's possible that this is the same cave that a 15-year-old runaway lived undetected in Central Park for over a month in 1897. Then in 1904, the cave became the backdrop for a mystery that had New Yorkers on the edge of their seats. According to the Times, on July 30th, 1904, a man was found unconscious with a bullet in his chest right by the Ramble Cave. Although the man would survive the trauma and regain consciousness, he refused to disclose his identity. However, police and hospital staffers were able to identify his last name, Dana, because it was written on the inside of his underwear. Dana claimed that another man had shot him, but wouldn't say much else. He wrote to a woman named Beatrice Dignan, who said that she knew Dana, but also would not reveal his identity. The next day, the victim's condition worsened, and he corroborated the underwear story that his name was, in fact, Samuel L. Dana. He additionally mentioned that this was a suicide attempt, and that he had actually shot himself. Over the next few months, his scandalous backstory and that of Beatrice Dignan came to light and was splattered all across local newspapers. Come to find out, Dana and Dignan were married, although they were currently embroiled in an annulment case. When the couple married, Dana believed Dignan to be a widow, although this wasn't true. Her real husband was alive and well, something she only told Dana the day before he shot himself as a justification for breaking off their union. Although that's what she said to rationalize it, she also admitted it was partially because she didn't realize he was poor when she married him. Beatrice Dignan, the original gold digger. Although she did in fact divorce her first husband around the time she married Dana, the press had a field day with this scoop, especially since she lied about her husband's death. They even uncovered her checkered past in Seattle under the name Babe Womack, spectacular name, who is known for, quote, receiving too much attention from men. This is unfortunately where the story goes cold. Dignan disappeared and the press moved on to the next big thing, so the real secrets behind this bizarre series of events was never uncovered. Shortly following the Dana Dignan drama, the cave became the backdrop for another suicide attempt. In 1904, a man shot himself in the heart while holding a note that simply said, "My name is Boy, no relatives in this country." Then, in 1908, a man slit his throat in front of the cave, but before his eventual death, he ominously told a police officer, quote, "The sparrows made me do it. I didn't want to, but I had to obey." The police officer found no further signs of foul play. Over the next few decades, the Ramble Cave upheld its seedy reputation. In October 1929, the Times reported that 355 men had been arrested that year alone near the cave for, quote, annoying women, a cutesy term for what we call sexual harassment today. It was for this reason that in the 1930s, the cave was totally sealed off, as it remains to this day. Although the area around the cave has changed, the steps down to it still exist. If you walk south from the Ramble Arch, which is on the west side of the Ramble closest to the lake, you should hit a tiny outlook with metal railings that are found above the second bay of the lake. That outlook is almost directly above the cave. If you look to your right, you should be able to see the old steps downward. If you're feeling adventurous, hop the railings and take the stairs down. Although the cave is still blocked off, it's still pretty neat to find that little bit of history that's so easily overlooked in Central Park.